My guest today is making his second appearance on the pod. He's the winner of the Funniest Motherfucker competition at Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club and a member of Parlor Tricks Comedy of Seattle. He's also a retired baseball player. I'm excited to welcome Reece Green.
Hey, did you say Travis Thompson does your intro music?
Yeah.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
He's a friend of...
Dude, he's sick.
Friend of a friend.
He's great.
He came out to Nate's competition the first year I did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell him to come back for me so I could meet him? I'm a fan of him. He was like my number 2 played artist last year. Yeah.
Dude, he's so good.
He's
I
cool.
saw him at the Fisherman's Festival in Everett.
Nice.
Like probably 3 or 4 months before I started doing stand-up, and it was unreal. I mean...
Shout out Travis Thompson. He's a great performer.
He's fucking great. And Paris Alexa was with him. That's who like the intro music is for us. And she's incredible, dude. If you haven't listened to her,
I gotta check her out.
really
Paris
good.
Alexa.
She's and she's from here, but she moved. I think she moved to LA. But
Big time.
really fucking good.
Cool.
If you like that intro music and our guest today, make sure to hit that like, share, subscribe button, the notifications bell so you don't miss our content. If you have a question for Reece or myself, please put it in the show notes. I'm just trying to get that as quick as possible because
like, share, subscribe?
Yeah. If you're on YouTube, do it now because you're going to leave and click off of this.
Fucking do it.
Yeah.
He will find your family.
Just...
Look at him.
I'm pretty much gonna just start these episodes by saying it like,
what's
who gives a fuck about the guests?
You're gonna turn into the guy who's gonna be like, "What's up, guys? Like, share, and subscribe." It's me, Adam Tiller. And it's gonna be like, "What happened to him?"
Dude, it's so out of control. But you can see on YouTube how long people watch for.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So you have to like get it in within a certain amount of time. But
they're tuned out.
This is your second time on.
It is.
You came
solo episode this time.
Yeah, the first time you came on, we didn't have the best setup for cameras and stuff. I think it was episode.
It was
74.
all of us like in one.
It was not.
Squeezed
we're
into
still
one.
figuring things out. But
it's a good setup you got.
One of your guys, I think he left Parlor Tricks since that
he's
episode.
doing his own stuff.
He's doing his own deal, but it was fun. Nick Dundas was on. Who? Oh no, it was you three.
It's me, Gus, and Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Jamal. I've had all the Parlor
Jamal's
Tricks
on a
guys
different.
on.
Yeah.
He was on a video game episode.
Yeah.
Right?
He loves video. I live with him now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is he on the boat with you?
No, I'm off the boat.
You're off the houseboat?
Yeah. Straight off the boat.
Why'd you get off?
We'd been there 3 years. My roommate left. It's a piece of garbage house. Have you ever been there?
I haven't.
People like assumed, they were like, "Oh, he lives on a boat." First off, they were like, "He owns it." I don't own anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm poor as fuck. I had a roommate. I had to duck my head everywhere I went. The bathroom didn't work. The heating barely worked.
You recorded your podcast there, right?
Yeah.
That long-lived podcast of yours?
Yeah, I still do it every now and then.
Do you?
But I don't. I would only do it for me because I was like bored. So I'd be like, "This is a way to talk for like 40 minutes at a time," and it just got me better at it. And then I started
doing
having
good
guests.
impressions on there, right? You had a good pit bull.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. 305, Dolly, Mr. Worldwide. It's just like this South Florida thing. Everybody, if you're born there, you can just do that.
Everybody, and the, like, what are the siren sounds for like parties and shit?
Oh no, it's just like if there's an ambulance going by in South Florida, like it doesn't have the regular sirens. It's just like Mr. 305. And you're like, oh wow, someone's in danger. Yeah, that was. But I don't live on the houseboat anymore. It's like nice, like where I'm like, oh, a working toilet.
Yeah.
Or like I walk into a room and I don't have to be like ducking
just,
my head.
Yeah,
like, what's up, guys? Isn't this cool? I have like permanent scoliosis now because I'm like trying not to get a concussion while making dinner in my kitchen in the galley.
The last time you came on, the houseboat was full of shit.
Yeah,
like literally full of shit.
That was after the
4th of July
party.
July
like show party that we did. Yeah. So that was a constant issue where there was because no one had taken care of it before us. Mm-hmm. So there was like a septic tank issue where it would get clogged.
You only had like 10 gallons.
We had like 25 gallons.
And once it was full, it was full.
Yeah. And so we'd get pumped out once a week. So sometimes we'd have to be like, fuck, we gotta. So that's why we wouldn't let anybody else use the bathroom.
When it started like piling up, did it just like, did you guys catch it in time or was it just?
It would be like, oh, this is so gross. This is.
Dude, we got to get it in before 5 minutes because everybody's going to leave.
Yeah. So it would just be like, you would try to flush it and you'd be like, oh, it doesn't flush. Like, you like crank the pedal. You're like, oh, it's full. There it is.
But it just kept, and then it like fermented and shit. Like,
it would just sit there and then they'd pump it out. It wasn't so bad.
So gross, dude.
Yeah, you get used to it. You really lower your bar.
Speaking of lowering the bar, you did a fucking road trip recently, right?
Yeah, lowering the bar. I did a road trip. We went to Canada.
Yeah. How was that? With
it was
two dudes
so
in
much
comedy.
fun.
I think at least one of them has been on the podcast. It was JPF.
Juan Forno?
Yeah,
JP,
Juan
Pablo.
Forno, yeah.
Sorry, I was like, what? Yeah. Juan Pablo. Juan was great. So it was Juan's tour. He brought me and Andrew Frank, and then we just like were in a car. I'm also the guy who's like the annoying little brother. I feel like if I go on so I'm always just down for whatever, and I'm just like annoying them because I'm like, this is fun. Like people are around.
Well,
like,
it was your first like kind of tour in comedy, right?
Yeah, and it reminded me of baseball days where we're just on the road for a long time, and then you like, instead of a game, it's like you have a show, and then you're hanging out after the show, and it's like I'm just always down. They're like, you want to go do this?
You don't.
Like, yes.
You don't have a day job, right?
Not really. I just do like random
stuff,
shit for
yeah.
work.
So it's
for
like
money.
there's no sense of urgency with time, right? Like it's
No.
Which is great for comedy for sure.
And it was great because I was like, I've been to Vancouver, British Columbia, but we were going through Alberta. We did some in BC and then just drove like up through Alberta, back through BC.
What is Alberta like? Because I keep hearing some wild shit.
Well, so I guess it is like the wild version of Canada.
It's like Texas of Canada.
That's what they all would say. Like I got the sentiment. They were like, it's like our Texas. And I was like, okay, no, it's not. But like, I get it. I get what you're saying. It's like the outlaws.
How so?
It's like a lot of just like farming land. Like it's a lot of just like
guns.
It's guns,
oil,
whatever it was. Oil.
Oil
is like so many oil guys and girls. Like it's so much
What
money with oil out there. But like,
what do those people look like? Are they like just like
the same.
Carhartt?
Yeah.
Like
it's very similar to like Pacific Northwest or like Montana vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were great because it's still like I've been trying to talk about it on stage, but like there was a guy at a show, like one of our last shows, who had no one reacts to this when I say it, but he's a Canadian guy and he had a Southern accent, like a U.S. Southern. And I was like, what is going? I didn't know you guys.
Alaska bush people.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know you guys existed. Like, do you watch a movie and you're trying to like did you hear that and you're like, that sounds fun. Like, let's do that. But I'm still like projecting my beliefs of a Southern American onto that guy, and in reality he's a Canadian guy, so he's like still pretty progressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a whole different culture up there for sure.
It was cool though, man. I got to see it's like
how long were you on the road?
2.5 weeks. It's like 17 days.
Damn, that's a long time.
It's great. I'm sure they were like, shut the fuck up, Reece, please. And I was like, I can't, dude.
How many shows did you do?
Oh, I don't know. We did like a run of shows leading up to Calgary, and Juan puts on a comedy festival, which was great in the city of Calgary called Craft Island Comedy Festival. And that's a week long. So we would just do a bunch of shows throughout, like he would put us on shows throughout the week. So there would be some nights you do a couple spots, but that like on top. So for Juan headlining, he did like a week and a half of shows. So I don't know, like 9 or 10 maybe.
Okay.
And then the festival. So maybe like 15 to 20 shows total.
And did his album come out yet?
No, I think he's working on it.
He's like filming it?
He filmed it in Calgary. So I got to open for that. That was really fun.
Do you know where he's releasing it?
I think I don't know officially or if I'm even allowed to. I don't know. What he told me is a Canadian service was going to pick it up. I think it looks great. He had like a professional setup, like audio and video. It's going to, should be great.
Hell yeah. Yeah. If anybody watching, just check out Juan Pablo Forno. He's a good dude. Funny comic.
Snow Mexican.
He's Snow Mexican. He came down recently from Canada and he's living in, I think he lives up here now, like in this.
Yeah. He's moving to Portland.
North Seattle. Oh, is he?
I think so.
Nice. Yeah, I went up last weekend to Kelowna. I don't know if you did any.
Where's that?
We were Kelowna and
BC?
Kamloops. Yeah, BC.
No. Other than like, I was in Fernie, British Columbia, and then like Tumbler Ridge at the end, which is like way up. But I've only been to like Vancouver and those other. I don't know any other. I don't know the geography of Canada really.
Did you guys do anything fun? Like
during the whole trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So okay, I'm about to nerd out right here. The best part. Okay, So multiple people were like, what's the highlight of the trip? And I think they wanted like a comedy answer. And I was like, well, the third night of the tour, I got to see the world's largest truck. That was the response most people had, what you just did. Which
well, I'm just
nothing.
like trying to picture that.
So when I was a kid, I would watch these like little documentary things about like just giant engineering, like feats of engineering. And it was a mining truck. So it was a big, like we're in the Canadian Rockies and it's like mining
Was it
towns.
those VHS tapes that were like,
Yeah.
No.
And it would like have the chalkboard.
They'd have it for like roller coasters too and shit
I'm
like
also
that.
into, I'm like way into roller. You should have me on for another episode about roller coasters. But this girl who's like opening on this like stretch of shows that we had when we were in Southern Canada, like in the Rockies in these mining towns. And she just like after a show, we're going from one town to the next to get to the Airbnb. And she just casually throws out, she's like, oh yeah, it's like, it's late and it's like dark out, so you probably can't see it. But like, if it was daytime, we're passing the town that has the world's largest truck. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, say that again. And she was like, oh yeah, it's like a mining truck. And I was like, bitch, I know that, but like, where is it? Like, let's go see it. And so as we're driving off to the side of the road, there's just lit up like green mining truck.
And were the other guys like, did they not care at all?
They, I think, were more interested in my reaction to it. Cause I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so we show up and like before Juan even parks a car, I'm like out of the car. I'm like doors open. I'm like,
your phone's out.
I'm like, this is crazy. And so we walk up and it's massive. It's in it's in Sparwood, British Columbia, maybe. Look it up. It's fucking huge. And it's like a couple stories high. Like, and there's a photo of us four next to it or us three next to it. And they look so small. And then there's these big signs that are like no climbing. And I was like, I gotta find a way to get to the top. So I just like
you climbed it?
I climbed through the middle of the truck, like found my way up like a little monkey kid.
Did you get a good pic?
I have a video of me on top, like looking down.
That's wild.
It's fucking great. And that I just couldn't, I like freaked out over it. I just like, I still think it's the coolest thing ever. I was like, this is amazing. The shows were cool, but that was
the highlight of the
for
trip.
me. I was like, this is unbelievable. Calgary was really fun.
Before you went, we were talking about doing the road a little bit. Like, did you get longer sets? Did you get?
Yeah. So what they do, also like working with Andrew and Juan, like every night, like two guys, like Juan was doing longer sets, but Andrew was still doing like 25, 30 minutes a night, right? Mm-hmm. Like he was like, and Andrew's been doing it for fucking 14 years. And he's like not even 30. Like he's been doing it since he was like a child.
Yeah, he came on.
He's like so in tune with comedy, like, and just giving he gives feedback the way that he like playing baseball my whole life. Like I know how to take feedback and like use it it's a whole thing, but he would give feedback that was very useful and in tune with me. Mm-hmm. Like he's not just giving like some generic, like, don't do this, do this, or like whatever. And that helped me evolve over 2 weeks. Like jokes. It's like, oh, these should have been better like 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. But he'd say one thing. I was like, oh, that made it click.
He was the first person I ever talked to in stand up that like, I realized like, oh, there's like levels to this. And like, he just thinks what I would say is like 3-dimensionally about stand up.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of start seeing it then you're like, oh shit, there's this other thing. And
off stage too. Like he's a fun like he kind of like riffs and like will play around the way that my brain works. So we would bounce off each other really well and it was super fun. Like I'm sure Juan in the car was like, I'm going to fucking swerve into oncoming traffic. Like these guys are blowing my brain.
He's a very silly person.
Yeah.
Like he is one of the few people that whenever I see him, he makes me laugh.
He's
like,
so funny, dude.
He's just a good dude.
Yeah.
I've learned a shit ton from Andrew and like, I probably owe him something cause he's like teaches the shit, you know?
Like,
he gives feedback really well. And like,
he's the one guy who teaches a comedy class where I'm like, okay, he's actually like in it.
He's
like,
one of Seattle's 7 different comedy classes. You can sign up today if you want to take one.
I gotta go.
Once in every 6 weeks.
I was gonna go to his last one. I thought moving was gonna be easier than it was, and I was incorrect about that. But
really,
yeah, because he does it on like Tuesday nights, and we just procrastinated moving out of the boat, and it's a whole story that we are not gonna get into on the podcast.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't sound interesting.
Security deposit is not coming back.
So
let's get into it.
yeah, one last reminder about the like, share, subscribe,
Like, share, and subscribe,
notifications.
folks.
I don't think there's a share button on YouTube, but
What?
throw a question in for Reece about the truck, or I don't know if you're listening.
They're
Like,
gonna be
go
like, my
subscribe
question-
to us on YouTube. Like,
They're gonna be like, my
it
question
doesn't
is
cost
he
you
autistic?
anything, any of that. All right.
Like, share, subscribe, folks.
So I have questions I wanted to ask you about, but you played pro baseball,
I did.
played internationally. When did you start playing baseball?
So I started playing baseball when I was like 6 because my dad was a high school coach, but he was an assistant high school coach. So I was just around it, and I was like bat boy for like a high school. My dad was a teacher, so I would already be at the school. I would go to the practices, and I was just there.
Son of a coach.
Son of a coach, but my dad never coached me ever.
This was in Florida, right?
In Florida, Sebastian River High School was where he was.
What
a coach.
part of Florida?
I'm from Vero Beach, Florida,
Which is on the eastern coast?
East Coast, Atlantic side, not near any cities. Like, that's why people are like, "Where are you from in Florida?" I'm like, "Well, how well do you know
Gator
Florida?"
country?
Everywhere is Gator country.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Vero Beach, Florida. And I just like started playing because I was like, well, I guess like my kid brain was like, well, I guess, yeah, I have to, right? Like, it wasn't that I was like, I love baseball, but I was like, well, I guess this is the only thing that I know. So I dabbled in other sports, but kept playing that. And then I got to a point where I was like 10th grade and I wasn't that good.
What position were you?
Well, when you're young, you do everything.
Okay.
So it's like you do everything. I wasn't a catcher. That was it. Like I would play every other position though.
Did you ended up being a pitcher though?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So at the higher levels, it gets more
Specialized.
Yeah, specialized because everyone like each level you go up in sport, any sport, not baseball, but it's like the worst player at that level was the best player at the level before, and then it just like gets better and better and better,
Yeah.
and it's like exponential per level where you're like, oh, this is a new game almost.
Yeah,
like
it's wild.
It's stupid. Like there's a reason I didn't make it to the top. And it's like, I never wanted to, but I was like, I've played with guys who have like, are now in the big leagues or like were in the big leagues. And you're like, oh, you're a different play. Like this is a different game that we're playing. But
I've seen that with basketball and shit.
Stupid. It's
But
stupid.
baseball, you can't play pickup baseball, right?
Unless you're in Japan, they do that.
Okay.
I've seen it.
But not in the States at all.
No, I tried when I first moved to Seattle. I went to play pickup baseball in a park, and it's like these guys that meet up like every few weeks or something. And I thought it was gonna be because I had like retired like less than a year before that. I had moved to Seattle. I'd like bounced around, and I was like, I still like to go throw or just like be around the game. Like I love it, but like. I go to this park in Central District and there's a bunch of dudes and I'm thinking it's going to be guys who played like at a higher level, at least a little bit higher where they're like, yeah,
Why did you think that?
because that's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, these are who I've
this
been
is
around.
my life. And so these people must have lived it too.
Well, not like that level, but like at least played high school baseball. And they were like, no, we wanted to play high school baseball.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck.
Did
like,
you play with them?
Yeah. It's the only time I ever played with them because I was like,
You just lit them up?
Well, I couldn't because I was like, this is unfair. Even when I was like warming up, they were like, whoa. And I was like, all right. Like I'm playing
When
catch.
you were playing like pro ball, what were you throwing? Like how fast?
I was up to like mid 90s. So like not consistently, but I could hit like 94, 95.
Damn. And how fast, like when you were in high school though?
High school I was like 86, 87.
Jesus.
Yeah. But that's
how did
like,
you get to that level?
I mean, I was like a twig in high school, but I had like projectability. So I just got bigger and stronger and like learned how to pitch. So it all kind of just like came together.
Where does most of the speed come from?
Mechanics.
Like
I
I don't know much about this, so you got to break this down a little bit.
Okay. This is going to get like kind of technical.
That's fine.
But the way that, so everyone, you have to have like strength, obviously. So when you're at the higher level, like I ended up pitching in Division 1 and it's like, you're on this like schedule, you're on this like 7-day, like I was the Friday night starter for a year. So it's like Friday night, you're getting ready to pitch, like you're the starting pitcher. So all through the fall, all through the spring, like preseason, you're getting in this routine, doing strength training, conditioning, everything. But it's like you could be the strong. There were so many pitchers and players that were way stronger than me, and would not. You're like, why are you throwing like 87? Like you should be like you have the body to throw like 96. But it's like I would watch their mechanics. So like sometimes it's like too much effort. Like I was a guy when I was pitching where it didn't look like I was trying to throw hard because I would watch major leaguers. It's a reason I can do accents. I think it's the same part of my brain where I would watch something and I'd be like, I'm going to imitate that. Like, I'm just going to do what that guy's doing. He's the best.
I want to hear you give this explanation in an accent now.
So I'm watching the big leagues and you got to watch like, so let's say a guy's using his hips, right? So he's like, he's not pushing off the mound, right? He's not like going towards home plate. He's like gliding there, but he's using the kinetic chain from his feet all the way up to his shoulders and everything's in sync, right? And so I would watch that guy and be like, it doesn't look like he's trying.
I'm like trying to take this in with the accents.
You can't tell me to do something.
No, it's just I didn't expect it to be that good. And then it's like when I'm hosting podcasts, I think I've realized over time, like this information is coming at me so fast and I'm trying to do like 3 things at once.
And it's like, okay, so anyway, let me just like,
let's slow it down a little bit.
yes.
Yeah.
So basically I would be like, what's the least amount of like physical effort with the most outcome? So I'd be like, what am I not doing that they're doing? Like what
are you doing?
How do I make
not,
it? Yeah, it's efficiency. So that's what I figured out. So there was a day like mid-season my junior year where I was a reliever at Winthrop University and I was throwing like, I don't know, 85 miles an hour. And then like in between games, like the next day, I like changed one thing about like just like one thing I would do with my hips. And I came out throwing like 92 and they were like, what the fuck happened?
It was just your hips.
It was just like, I mean, a little more than that, but it was just like one tweak in the mechanics. It wasn't like I changed a whole bunch of shit and it just like unlocked something
How much
that
did
my
you
body
weigh
worked.
at that time?
185.
So you were, what was Lincecum when he was like?
Lincecum's also way shorter.
Yeah, he was 5'11".
165, 170.
Yeah,
he was
but
a
he
twig.
threw
Yeah.
crazy fast, right?
Yeah, like mid 90s. But now that's like normal. Like the average fastball in the major leagues is like 95.
That's wild.
Crazy.
And isn't the difference between like 95 and like 101?
Oh, it's stupid.
It's a crazy.
It's like the same. If you're like 89 to 93, it's pretty similar. It seems pretty similar. There is a difference, obviously. But once you get to like 95, every mile an hour, it seems it's like exponential.
Why?
I'm not a hitter. Hitting's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody hits a baseball.
I think I've seen, I mean, what's the fastest you've seen a ball come in a batting cage?
In a cage?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I could tell you in real life. Like I've
Oh,
seen
yeah, 'cause
like
you've had to
as
hit.
a hitter at like lower levels, I've seen like low 90s. And I was like, I can't do this.
What do you do? Like, were you just trying to bunt?
No, I would swing and miss. Great big swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever hit one?
I mean, like ground ball. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ground out. Like I wasn't a good
Did it just
hitter.
fucking hurt your hands to even make contact?
Nah. I mean, if it gets in on the barrel, like on the handle or something, that'll
I just
sting.
can't. I think I've seen like 70 mile an hour
Yeah.
in a batting cage, and I can't imagine.
it's
It's, you even just from behind, you're like, what is going on right now? Like it's so.
When I got good at pitching, I was like when I was at the top of my game, which is like senior year, like end of my junior year through like professional, I was like, I would throw some pitches where I was like, how does anybody hit this?
Really?
Yeah. I was like, this is like, I'm not the great, but I'm like, it's still nasty. Like
What was your strength though as a pitcher?
I would throw sinkers. So I threw like lower arm slot and I had a lot of wrist movement. So I couldn't throw a ball straight. So all of my balls would like be going straight and then dip down at the last moment. So I had a lot of arm side run. So I don't know. It's a lot of ground balls. Like it's hard to get under it.
Yeah.
It's easy to.
So the movement at the end too.
Late movement is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you were playing, like, I never played baseball, but because I worked in like sports analytics, I know. I mean, I think I've read like 3 or 4 books on baseball analytics. Like, were you guys doing shifts and shit like that? You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, no. I used to work for Canner Gaming down in Vegas. And
that's why.
Like,
okay.
I did this big like study on air density in baseball and how it affects totals.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
that's wild.
Yeah, like there were certain stadiums like
like the Rockies. It's like the ball goes further. It's like harder to pitch in this.
But outdoor stadiums, like we were looking at humidity and like Wrigley and what's the White Sox?
I don't know what it's called now. It used to be like
It keeps
Comerica Park.
change-
But,
yeah, it keeps changing, but
Oh, great.
because-
Guaranteed rate field.
Sounds about right. Have you ever been to that stadium
Yeah.
in person?
Uh-huh.
It's literally across the street from the projects.
I know. It's in South
insane.
Chicago. Yeah.
It's out of. I would drive past it leaving college and
Yeah.
go up.
Where'd you go to
Minnesota.
college?
Purdue.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I
But-
lived in Chicago for a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. That's where you moved from.
Yeah, I bounced around, but
But we looked at for that study. We had to use like historical weather data.
Yeah.
And Lake Michigan, like on certain days, like depending on the wind,
yeah.
it would push all that moisture into the stadium, and it made a huge difference
Yeah.
on the drag and the ball for like
Oh, that's
whether or
fucking
not
awesome.
Yeah, so it was like I literally went
You know
back
more
like
about baseball
5
than
years.
I do, actually.
It was painful though. Weather data
Yeah.
is so hard to collect, dude. There are these weird online websites of like wonderground.com.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Was this for like sports betting and stuff? Yeah.
So it was.
So would you guys make the odds? Like, is this why you?
This was like a theory based thing. So it was like, hey, you need a summer project. So like,
Yeah.
what do you want to study? And it was like, the theory was, does fluctuations in like humidity affect the drag on the ball?
Yeah.
On like, and we had to go through, and it's hard to like, you can't say definitively.
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
it was more
Pretty
significant
different,
than we thought it would be.
It's
for sure.
noticeable. Yeah. Players notice it too.
Yeah, man. It's because they always talk about here, like it's so many home runs get swallowed up at T-Mobile.
T-Mobile Park.
Yeah. It's fucking
Home of the 2022
Like,
playoff Seattle Mariners.
like somebody will clip a ball and it's like that's gone, and then it just
And it
sucks
just
it up.
dies. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild. So you threw the sinker. What else did you throw?
Slider, changeup, just 3 pitches.
And the changeup, like
Looks like it's going to be a fastball, same arm action, and then just a little
can
bit
you
slower.
show me how?
You have a baseball?
Yeah.
You
Hold
do?
on. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll
It's
show you how
a
to do my
foul ball I
pitches.
got.
Oh, it's a Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was
I got a bunch of nice baseballs at home. Dude, I want to so badly get... Oh my God, it's in a fucking case. Baseballs are so normal to me. I'm like, why would anybody have this in a case?
Well, it was the only foul ball I ever got.
Let me see this bitch.
I think it was
I'm going to spit all over it.
who the fuck was it?
Did they like verify it? They like...
They when you catch one at
They feel so good.
when you caught one at Safeco, they like someone comes up to you because you're like all hyped up about it, and they're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is who."
Yeah,
who
they
was
like...
batting.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
It's like authenticated.
God, who the fuck was it? He played for Texas. The pitcher,
Pitcher.
Asian dude that played for Texas, tall, like I think right-handed pitcher, and then he got traded.
Iwakuma? No.
No,
Wait,
no,
you got a
that's-
foul ball from a pitcher?
no. This was who was throwing it.
Oh.
And then the guy that fouled it off. I don't. It's important to me. No one else. Like,
yeah, you're right.
But yeah, how do you throw the
Okay,
changeup?
so the changeup, I
Look
would
into the
throw it-
camera too. Like,
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Can you see the ball?
yeah.
So I would throw it. So sometimes they teach like a circle change where you have. So I have
Talking to the
my-
mic too.
Sorry.
And
I'm
then
too
look.
tall.
Don't break eye contact with me.
With you. I wanted to look into the camera. Okay, sorry. I'm confused. I'm not the smartest guy. So, okay. So I would throw it like this. So on these 2 seams here, so these 2 seams right here,
Mhm.
and I would put these fingers over here. So basically I'm like gripping the ball just with the other fingers, like the outside fingers. Cause as I'm throwing it, I'm like, I'm not really turning over my wrist, but they teach you that. So I'm throwing it like a fastball, and then it's like rolling off these fingers, and then it just dives
So
out.
that's why those like it's so erratic though. Sometimes it's like
Yeah.
because the
It's hard to
grip is-
control all of your pitches because they're coming out of different, like not different arm slots. They should be coming out of the same arm slot, but like
You're
they're
a little out of frame here, but
sorry. Well, I'm too long.
look, you look like Chris Angel right now.
Yes. I'm doing magic with a baseball. And then I would throw a sinker like that. It didn't, I don't know. Sliders,
I didn't. So isn't the traditional changeup though just like
like a
kinda-
circle chain. That's what they'll teach. Like, I don't know if you can see my finger, but it's like a circle, like literally like that part. They teach you to like make a circle with it. And I was like,
me
that's
see it.
stupid. Yeah.
That's wild though.
Yeah.
So what your best pitch was your sinker?
Yeah, fastball.
And then, so was that 2-seam?
I would hold it like a 4-seam, but I would keep my finger. So 4-seam, it's because your fingers are going 1, 2, 3. There's 4 points of contact.
Mm-hmm.
So like that would be a 4-seam.
So you have the
fastball.
best grip essentially.
You get the same grip, but I would hold it like this and I would hold it way out on my fingers, and it would just like
Damn.
slide off. Yeah.
And
It's mostly like wrist action though for me.
what was your?
I haven't done this in forever.
That was your best pitch.
This is my most consistent pitch.
Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't like a major leaguer, you know.
Yeah.
I was
But what were you like? Was your strength like accuracy or just power?
strike thrower. I wasn't like overpowering, but I had stamina. So I was consistent. Once I got consistent, I was very inconsistent earlier in my college career, and I was really bad and like immature, like didn't know how to pitch. And then once I kind of started to figure that out, it got a little easier, not easier, but like more consistent.
What was it that helped?
Experience. Cause I started, this is a good way to get into the professional baseball aspect, but I went to a junior college in Florida my freshman year, discovered alcohol, ruined my career, like ruined the year, like was so bad. Grades were bad, got like released from that team, scholarship pulled. And I was like, I gotta get my shit together. So I stopped drinking for a little bit, transferred to, I think maybe the only junior college in the state of Florida that was worse than the team that I was on. We were good. Like we had good players, but we weren't good as a team.
Mm-hmm.
My roommate was Cal Ripken Jr.'s son.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's a fun fact. I forget about that.
Did you meet Cal Ripken?
Yeah, he gave us a TV. He's my roommate, but they didn't live with us. They had our own. They did sometimes, but
Wait, who didn't?
Ryan. Sorry, but Cal's son, Ryan Ripken, because they just had an apartment. So we had like normal like dorm living that they would like. They had a room. They would stay there sometimes.
Gotcha.
But they were like
Cal Ripken's kids, so he didn't.
just one. Yeah, they were good though. He's fucking good. I feel bad because like I'm not close with him, but like everyone's just like you're Cal Ripken Jr.'s son. Like
Yeah, and
it's like
shouldn't he be playing like
he was good. Like he was really good. But he just I think
just wasn't fucking Cal Ripken.
Yeah, and I think everyone was like I don't know, the standards that he had to deal with through his career are probably super tough. Like
Dude, that guy, like that
so
name in baseball
I felt for him, dude. It
wasn't that the name of a video game? Cal Ripken's Baseball?
probably.
Yeah, I felt like he was like the brand name for baseball for like 15 years or something.
The Iron Man, dude. He's a Hall of Famer. He's great.
Yeah. Okay, so you fucking went to
I
shitty
transfer.
college.
So I transfer.
Shittier.
Get my shit together. Learn how to pitch. Have coaches that work with me.
So how did you
drop
do that,
my?
though?
So I was throwing over the top. Like my mechanics were like I don't know. My arms
So
were too long.
high.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to see my whole fucking arm.
Well, the people on YouTube do. Okay, you're a good-looking man.
They're smart. They're fine. They're so over the top.
You're not.
But I dropped my arm angle, so I had way more run on it. It was very natural to go like to drop my arm angle, and it wasn't like stressing my arm anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started getting people out. I learned how to pitch a little bit more. Had a really good year statistically. Transferred to a Division I for the next 2 years. And
Winthrop
then just like
was D1?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first year I was there, it was so crazy because we were in the Big South Conference. So I transferred there, and then 2016 Coastal Carolina won the national championship.
Okay.
And so people were like, "Oh, where even is that? Like, what conference?" I was like, "Oh, well, we have the national champion in our conference."
That's wild.
They were so good. Yeah, I didn't pitch against them, thank God. But like, I think they like set a home run record that year. It was fucking stupid. They were really good. But that was one of those times in my career where I was like, you go from one level to the next level, and you're like, this is a jump right here. Like we would play against like University of South Carolina, Clemson, North Carolina, like just as like midweek games. And I was like, oh fuck. Like their nobodies are so good. Like the people.
When you were pitching those games, like how many pitches are you throwing? Or were you a starter or reliever?
I was a reliever. I was like both my junior year. So I would be like setup guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would start every now and then, but just like weekdays.
How many pitches were you throwing
per game? As a starter?
Yeah.
You try to go to go at least 6 innings. So that'd be like, I would probably say like 100 pitches per.
What's
starter?
the most you've ever thrown in a game?
127.
Okay, so not like anything crazy.
I mean, that's a lot, but it was like, I don't know. I wasn't like, I had good enough stamina, and like I wasn't a max effort guy, so it wasn't like I was like falling apart.
Did you see that Nolan Ryan documentary?
Yeah, fastball.
I don't it's
believe
like
it.
on Netflix.
Where they're like he threw 108 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
No. I bet he threw fucking hard. I don't know if he threw 108. That's crazy.
What's the high? Isn't the,
it's like
the
106
dude from that was
Aroldis Chapman?
Yeah.
I think 106 point.
I saw him in person once.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's fucking huge.
Imagine that fist coming out your face if you're his girlfriend.
Did that happen?
I think so.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
God.
He did something pretty funny where they were in the playoffs this year, and then they had like I think like a day out or like a training day where it's like they come and get work in, and he's like, I'm going to go to Miami. He just didn't show up.
Just didn't
and
go.
they were like, you're not on the playoff roster then. So he just didn't play in the playoffs.
Fucking crazy.
They're so stupid.
I played basketball with Dontrell Willis once.
What?
Yeah. He was it was down in Phoenix, and it was just a pickup game. And
Yeah.
I was on his team, and like
The D train.
I've never seen, like I saw him, I didn't piece together who it was.
Yeah.
And
Was he fat? When was this?
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Well,
he
once
was
players
retired,
like retire, they kind of.
I mean, he was big when he was playing.
Yeah.
You know, but he was on that Marlins team that won.
Oh, yeah.
And he was Mike Bibby plays at this like court. So like Bibby
How
was
did
there.
you get in
like,
at this court?
Dude, you can just
It's
play.
just- okay.
Yeah. And I
They're
I
like,
got
yeah, let
on
him
his
in.
team. It was the shit. Like it was,
Yeah.
he could fucking play, but he threw a basketball in a way that I've never seen.
Throw it.
Like he grabbed the ball.
Yeah.
And usually when like I leak a lot, like I guess cherry pick or whatever, where like if somebody's shooting a 3 on me, I'll just run.
Yeah.
Because I know if it doesn't go in, then I can snag like a layup. And he would throw full court passes to me with a basketball they did not.
Yeah,
there
it's
was
on a
no
line.
curve.
It's on a
It
line.
was just dead. I've never seen a basketball
Crazy.
move like that.
That's wild. I would, if someone threw a basketball like that, I'd be like, don't stop doing that.
It was that whole court was crazy, man. Mike Bibby would come up and he'd have like 5 people show up and rebound for him.
Jesus Christ.
He had a whole team of people.
Dude, you can't take it out of the athlete. Like once you retire, it's like they're going to find something else to do.
He rolled up in a Rolls Royce.
Jesus Christ.
That's what he rides around in. And then he
That's just his Sunday cruiser.
just his, like, it wasn't an LA Fitness. I don't want to out
Don't
the
do
location.
It. Yeah, don't do it. It is in Phoenix though.
But it was basically LA Fitness.
La Fitness.
La Fee.
Sometimes I would go to LA Fitness in Jacksonville and we would be like, let's play some pickup. And then we would show up and we were like, there's one court and they would be playing full court. And then all around the gym, there's people sitting there just waiting to play. And I was like, I will never be able to play here.
Yeah.
Ever. Like,
It's the worst, dude. I don't
there's
know why.
a 2-year waiting list. That's what it felt like. But
And whoever is on the court is stacked.
yeah, I'm like,
He's
these
never
guys
going
are
to
good.
play.
The dudes shout out to the guys at Winthrop University.
Because
Senior
they're
year.
definitely watching. And
No,
listening.
I'm just saying they were so good. Like the guys that I played baseball with were so good at basketball. Like we would go to the gym, and they would play full court. And we had like multiple dudes on our team that would just throw down dunks.
Really?
In game. And I was like, what the fuck? Like athletes.
That's wild.
It was crazy. I would just say, they'd be like, Reece, you want to tag in? I was like, no, I do not.
Do you not hoop?
I will just like casually, but I'm not going to be that guy to go get hurt.
What do you do with these, okay, we keep jumping around. What?
Sorry.
So you were at Winthrop, you started to get your mechanics down.
Yeah.
You were
I made a
long
big
relieving.
jump. I made a big jump my junior year to my
85
senior
to
year.
92.
Yeah, and then I was consistent. I got way bigger and way stronger. So I was like,
Did you take steroids?
No, I got back from. I played in Medford, Oregon for a summer for the Rogues. My junior summer, like 2016.
Is that AAA or something?
No, it's like summer league. It's like college guys from across the country, like in the summer, like summer break, come
Medford,
to play.
Oregon. Nice name drop there, by the way.
Medford, Oregon, go Rogues, dude.
Have you done that room yet?
Chadwick's?
Yeah.
No.
You will.
Yeah, great.
See, Carl Lee. Shout out to Carl Lee.
Shout out to Carl Lee. He's definitely watching too, right?
Carl Lee will be watching. He's a good dude. But so you went to Medford, came back,
made a
stronger, bigger, faster.
a big jump, and a guy from my team was like, "What did you take?"
Really?
And I was like, "That's the best compliment I've ever." I didn't take anything.
Were guys around you taking shit?
Not a ton, but I knew guys that took like needle in the ass steroids.
Really?
Yeah. And then when they got off, I was like, "Oh, you should have kept taking it."
Were they? Did they get like bitch tits and shit too?
No, because they only did like 1 or 2 cycles. But
dude, I knew a guy that took like over the counter
Geez.
steroids.
Yeah.
Like just like in college was trying to get like built like a brick shit house, and he started lactating. Like from his, whenever we would play quarters, if he started drinking a lot of beer, his shirt would have like little puddles under his nipples.
He's like, "It's cool, I'm strong."
He leaned into it, dude. He was like, "I'm getting fucking hammered right now. I'm starting to get like," he started
squeezing it. Oh no! Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, that guy was the fucking man. But then he ended up in the hospital because his liver got fucked.
Damn, dude. Part of me wants to, because I got good where I was like in shape, throwing hard. I felt great. And I was like, what if I took steroids?
Yeah.
Like,
why didn't you?
I didn't care enough. I never loved baseball. I was like, this pays for my school. Like genuinely, I was like, I was so not good for the longest time where I was like, not the worst, but I wasn't good enough.
So you were like the fucking tall guy that plays basketball, that like you have the genetics for it.
I guess.
Like,
I mean, I worked really fucking hard. Like,
then
I was
why didn't you love it?
Because it's like, I don't know. When you're in it, you're like, it's your job. Like you're in it all the time. You're around it all the time. And
what
it was like,
did you love?
Nothing.
Pussy and booze?
No, I didn't get pussy.
You didn't?
Not until last year.
Really? Yeah. God damn. How old are you? Like
27.
29?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. I never really tried. I never really tried because I was like, yeah, I like when I'm doing something, I'm committing to one thing. So I work really hard. I would like go to parties, but I was like, I don't care enough to do that.
So you just got hammered?
I would get fucked up.
Yeah. You're like, I'm here to drink. That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about you.
Dude, so, okay. So whatever. I go to Winthrop. The draft happens. I think I'm going to get drafted. I thought I was going to get drafted by the Mariners.
Really?
They had called me like every day. I had talked to like 3 teams after my senior year, and I didn't have any leverage in the draft because it's like, I've graduated. You don't have like, I'm going to go back to school. Like, give me more money.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't take the interviews seriously.
Really?
When they would like talk to me or like send like whatever it was. Like, I just didn't give a fuck because I was like, draft me if you want. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be I would love to be a big leaguer, but I'm like, I'm not going to be a big leaguer. Like, that's not my future. Like, I was very realistic about it. I was like, I'm good. I'm above average. I'm not going to be a big leaguer. So the draft comes around. I don't get drafted. I already had Australia on the back burner where I was like, okay, if I don't get picked up or whatever, I'm just going to go. Like, it's a free trip around the world. Like, they'll pay for it. Like, they set me up with everything. So that fell through and I was like, all right, I'm going to Australia. So I go to Australia. I go to Perth, Western Australia.
I almost went there actually.
For vacation?
No, for like right before I got sober.
Yeah.
I was supposed to intern for like the Perth fucking basketball
Wildcats?
team there.
Perth Wildcats.
I think so.
No,
or it might have been
the
Sydney, one of the two. Perth is on the northwest side?
Perth is on the west side.
Yeah.
Just the west side.
Just the west side. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in Perth?
It was in Perth, Western Australia. It's the farthest. There was a point of my life where I got over there because I flew from Orlando, Florida, and I had to go to like LA to Sydney, Sydney to Perth. And Australia is as wide as like the United States.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yep.
So it's like a 30-hour trip.
That's
and so
miserable.
Terrible. had a middle seat going across the Pacific Ocean in between two fat ladies.
It almost seems like going like over the like
Yeah,
The
it was.
Arctic.
I'm sitting like the first week I'm in Perth, like our season hadn't started, so I'm on the Indian Ocean, like just like sitting on the beach, and I'm like, wow, I'm really far away. Like, and I was like, I wonder like how far away I am from like Vero Beach, Florida. Like, what's the farthest I could go from Vero Beach, Florida? You know that like Truman Show quote where he's like, I want to go to Fiji because it's the furthest I could go without starting to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's of course a website for it where you're like, what's the furthest you can go from any distance?
Mm-hmm.
So Vero Beach, Florida, the furthest place in the world you could go away from it was Perth, Western Australia. And I was like, wow, I'm like the furthest I could possibly be
That's wild.
from where I grew up. Yeah. Very surreal moment because I was like, oh, I'm like out here. I'm like living here now.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no
And you were 23?
22,
Okay.
like just turned 22. And I had left like August of 2017.
I thought you played in Japan.
No,
So it was just
that would have
Australia?
been fucking awesome. I would have loved to play in Japan.
Yeah. You
I
would have
went to
been
Japan.
like you would have been Shaq
Yeah.
in Japan.
Well, I did go to Japan when we had like a little 2-week break or like 3-week break in the middle of the season. And I went to Tokyo for Christmas and New Year's from
Damn.
Perth because it was just straight up like 14 hours.
Mhm.
And there was a point where I was in like a nightclub and I could see over everybody.
Were you
Just a bunch
still
of
were you still in the no pussy zone?
pretty much. I really didn't care. I
What
still
did-
really
what-
don't. I
What
love how
do you care about?
I love how this is what you go back to.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
are you
just-
still not
Well,
getting pussy?
Well, I just like if you were out, that seems like the recipe for it.
Yeah.
Like to be a single guy that's an athlete.
I don't let people know about my life like that.
Really?
You know? I
You
keep
don't?
I keep it on the DL. I want people to have guess, and they just have no
Is
idea.
it? But weren't most of your teammates like that were single? That's kind of what
they
you
were
do?
like, yeah.
So what were you doing during all those
I think
times?
I just like thought it was like I would watch them do it, and I was like, you guys are fucking pathetic. Like,
Really?
Because they would just try so hard to get girls.
When I went to
That's so funny. You're like, is this still your no pussy getting face?
I thought that's what you do internationally because like when I went to anywhere I,
did in
went
Europe
international.
a little bit.
Really?
Europe was way better than Australia.
Really?
Everyone finds out that I played international baseball, and they find out that I went to Australia because they're like, where? And I'm like, Australia and the Czech Republic. Those are the two places.
That's a weird combination.
It's actually a lot of people do that. Like once you go international, there's like a whole community and all the team. Like, so a team in the Czech Republic offered me like a contract or whatever, and they were like,
Was the money good?
no,
It was terrible money.
horrendous.
Like
I got paid in the Czech Republic. I got paid 500 Czech crowns every month on the first in cash.
How much is a Czech crown?
Let's see. Can I do
have
the?
that? Yeah.
Can we do the conversion right now? I think it was not a lot. 5, or maybe it was. Oh no, it wasn't 500. It was $500 in Czech crowns, which was like 2,000 Czech crowns. To Czech. I don't know, but they would give us a wad of cash, and it wasn't. I don't even remember, but it's $500 a month, which in that town goes a long way.
Oh, for sure.
But I would just travel. I would like, yeah. So in Europe, I was like, I was in Třebíč, Czech Republic, which is like a small town. Like nobody spoke English. Like,
What were you doing to pass the time most of the time?
I was there with like one of my best friends also got signed to them, Duran Davis, and he was my roommate and teammate. And so there's 4 American guys on the team, like the imports, because there's like rules, like it can't be just like a team of American guys.
Yeah.
So it's like all these Czech dudes and then like a couple American guys, or like some of them are European, but like other countries. But we were just like, it's the summertime there. So during the day, you're like, we just go around town. Like you're in the middle of fucking Europe. So it's like all still very new. So we're like walking around the town. We like go get beers, like go to the gym, like do whatever, or just like go to the field. Like you just hang out. Like it's your job. You're there every day. So it's like, but I would get to this point because I was our number 1 starter and I was putting up numbers, like good fucking numbers. And we'd play like Thursday through Sunday or Friday through Sunday. It was only weekends. There's no like early week games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to this point where I was like, all right, I'm in Europe. I'm probably not coming back again. Like, I don't want a career out here. And I'm a pitcher, so I'm going season to season to season. So my arm's like falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I gotta stop after this. And so I was in Europe, and there was a point like a month into the season maybe where I was like, okay, why am I staying in this town at the beginning of the week to practice? Like, I'm a professional. I'm getting my work done. And so I would just travel. I wouldn't go to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like travel around Europe and I was like, I will be back for the games. Like,
were you practicing on during travel or no?
I would like work out and lift and like do my stuff. And also some of the towns I would go to or some of the cities in Europe, I would go to like guys that I knew who were on other teams in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you do have resources there. But honestly, I wasn't doing what I should have done.
Yeah.
But I was still putting up crazy numbers, like really good numbers. And so I was like, if I'm not at practice and I show up and I'm not putting up numbers, then yeah, like I will but I was like, I'm not.
Did anybody get pissed?
No, we weren't the greatest team.
So it didn't.
But the coach like didn't like it. Like the manager didn't like it. But I was like, it wasn't the best thing to do. But I was like, fuck it, dude. I don't know. I'm showing up and doing my job. Like,
how did it end though? Like, when was your last game?
My last game was September of 2018. We had been knocked out of the playoffs, so we were just playing these like bullshit nothing games. Like they didn't mean anything. My arm was falling apart. Like literally, like I started to partially tear my rotator cuff on the back, and so I tried to do some rehab. Didn't really work, but I was like, dude, I'm not getting surgery. So I had a team in Australia that was like, hey, come, like here's like this offer or whatever, and I was like, I can't pitch anymore. I was like, I'm gonna fly. You're gonna fly me out there, pay for a visa. I'm going to throw one game and I'm going to have to go home. Like there's no way I could do this.
Did you ever get it fixed?
No, I just stopped pitching. So it's fine.
So it's better.
Yeah.
now.
I've like thrown since, like I could still get it up there, but it's just like, it was overworked to like the maximum. Like I was like, dude, I can't. Like, it was like, I would throw a ball and I would like almost cry.
That's yeah.
But yeah, there was, Europe was fucking cool. Everybody asks about Australia. They're like, what was Australia like? And I'm like, fucking
boring.
No, not boring, but they just binge drink. And it's like, I don't know. It's a different culture.
Why
but it's
was
like,
Europe better?
I'm in the middle of fucking like some town where nobody speaks English. Like you have to really figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I technically was on airplane mode for like 8 months. Like I would have Wi-Fi, but I didn't have like phone service or anything. So I would leave like the field, like to use my GPS or whatever. So I would just go to these towns and like try to figure it out.
What were you doing?
Just explore, literally nothing. Like I was just wandering. Like I would just go, like I went to like, we went to Rome. We went to like, I would go to Budapest all the time, Amsterdam, Berlin, Munich, like so many, Vienna, Austria was great. Like you're in the middle of like Slovakia, which is like right next to, it's so funny. People still call it Czechoslovakia, and that has not been around for, they dissolved that in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like it's the Czech Republic and then Slovakia. But I would just go, I would take these trains and buses like by myself because I was like, it's cheap to travel, cheap enough. But I was like, yeah, let's just go see what's up. Like make friends, stay at a hostel, go around.
Did you have any like sketchy things ever happen?
Not like sketchy. I mean, I'm sure looking back, like there would be sketchy things. I met a girl at a hostel one time and we had sex in a Roman graveyard in front of a, what do they call them? Not a cathedral. What is like the
I feel like you're lying to me about the pussy thing.
Mausoleum.
I feel like you're lying about the pussy thing.
On someone's grave. What?
You tell me the first like crazy story you tell me is that you had sex on a Roman grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why would I tell you the non-exciting ones?
Well, I'm just saying. I feel like you're lying to me about the pussy thing.
I came too soon. Like, why would I tell you that one? I ruined a girl's night. Like, why would I tell you that one?
I mean, that one I'm
a sloppy kisser.
Too.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm a very sensual and great kisser, ladies.
Yeah. All the Winthrop graduates that are watching this all your teammates.
They won't. They're gonna be like, I thought he was gay. Like, I showed up with a girl one time to a party there for the first time ever. Because I would just never let them know what I was doing. And one kid on my team was like, I thought you were gay.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, the mausoleum thing is a real true story.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's the craziest escapade.
All right. So you
one time
that wasn't the
there was
story
this-
for the story segment,
there
was it?
No,
Okay.
no. There's way more to that story.
Should we dig into
Wait,
that?
hold on. I'm going to tell you one sketchy thing, and then I'll
Okay.
tell you one fun baseball story that I thought was hilarious. But I went to Vienna, Austria, and so they do like there's always public transportation in these cities, like good public transportation. So they have like a subway system that goes around. So we were in the first district, and have you been to Europe?
No.
Or like, okay, so some places they do fare enforcement a little harder, like where they're like, you have to buy a ticket or whatever, and you have to like stamp it to like validate that you paid for it and it's like for the ride that you just took, right?
Okay.
So there has to be like a stamp on it or what, like, because you could buy a ticket and if no one's validating it, you could just like
Keep using it.
yeah. And so one time we were in, okay, this leads into the other one. We were in Budapest and I was with these two other guys that played international baseball in Switzerland, and we were riding the train. And this lady, and it was the one time where I validated it. Because usually I would just be like, fuck it. And I did. And I wasn't even thinking about it. And they hadn't. And they stopped us. And they were like, let's see those tickets. So I was like, oh, thank God. Like I had it. And then they hadn't done it. And they were like, well, that's going to be, we're either going to like take you to the fucking police station or like you have to pay this or whatever. And it was like $20 US. And they were like, no, dude, we bought the ticket. Like we forgot to validate whatever. And they're like, no. And they were like, can we see your passports or whatever? And they fucking hand over their passports. And then the lady's like, all right, that's going to be like $100 now. Cause like now we have your passports. And they were like, what the fuck? And so they almost like went to jail because they were arguing, and then they ended up paying the lady. And I was just like,
So they were like blackmailing them?
yeah.
Fuck.
Because
that.
usually, especially in Hungary, they will, it happens in a lot of places, but I know in Budapest it happens where they'll be like, pay us whatever, and they'll just pocket a lot of it. Like the officers.
Oh, yeah.
Will just like take it.
If you're American,
Yeah. Or like any tourist, like
Yeah.
wherever. So one time we go to Vienna, and I'm with,
is this a story?
there's one more story.
Okay, tell me when it's story time so I can cue up the music.
Okay. I hope it does. Oh, whatever. So we go to Vienna, and we're about to go back to. I'm trying to go catch the train back to Brno, Czech Republic, because it's like the closest city to where we are.
I don't know where anything is in Europe, so I'm just
Vienna.
listening.
Vienna is so Austria's it's like right next to the Czech Republic. So we're in Vienna, and beautiful city, and we go to catch this train, and we're taking like a metro to the main train station, and I get off. I don't have I didn't validate my ticket, and so there's a bunch of dudes at the top, like fare enforcement officers, whatever it is, in the main Vienna train station. And so I'm like, oh shit, I didn't validate. Let me go back. And he's like, no, you can't do that now. Like you have to pay this. It was like 200 euros or something, like some crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I start looking around, and I'm like processing it. I'm like, this guy is like scamming me. Like he's not a officer. Like he's just like getting tourist. And so I just have this like backpack, like this like tight backpack. I'm wearing like shorts, like summer, peak physical condition. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay that. And he's like, well, no, I'm either going to take you to the fucking police station. Again, that's what they threaten. Or you have to pay like 200 euros. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have fucking 200. I don't have cash on me like that. And he's like, well, we got to go to the ATM. I'm like, hey, dumbass. Like, I don't know where the ATM, I'm like being a dick to him. I'm like, I don't know where the fucking ATM is. Like, take me there. And this fucking idiot turns his back, and I just sprint. And I fucking am running. It felt like a movie. I'm like sprinting to the Vienna train station. Like, and this guy, I turn around, he's running full speed after me.
After you? Shit. Was he legit?
I don't know. I don't think he was.
You got away though?
So I'm running, and I see this like staircase that goes up, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to book it up these stairs and hopefully just like disappear. And I swear to God, I bump into this old lady who just has papers. Like she just has like folders for some reason.
Yeah.
I bump into her, they go flying. And I was like,
yeah,
I'm sorry. And it's like, I turn around, she's like, what the fuck? I was like, how's this happening right now? I sprint up the staircase, and it's a dead end like train station. So it's like, there's just a wall and there's like a platform.
shit.
And I was like, fuck. And I turn around, and the guy's just not there. So I think he was like, I gave up.
Once you went up.
Once I went up, he's like, all right, I'm not getting this 200 euros. But I was like, before I turned around, I saw the dead end. I was like, am I going to have to jump over the train tracks to get to the other platform? And like, I was like,
fuck that, dude.
Yeah. And I definitely didn't. I was like, I hope he's not a real cop. And I turned around, he wasn't there. And I was like, whew. And I was with two of my friends. And then I ended up seeing them on the train back to the town we were going to. And they were like, we knew you would figure it out. And I was like, thanks. Yeah. So just validate your tickets. That's all I'm saying. Then you don't have to go through that. Tickets like
that was
$2.
That on its own was a good story.
Yeah, it was. This next story was funny, but it's not as
it's probably not going to live up to the hype.
It was. Can I tell it though?
Yeah, hold on.
It's story time. It's story time with Adam. Yeah, it's story time. It's story time with Adam and friends.
Welcome to Story Time with Fathom and Friends. You gotta have someone like that. Me, I could be that
soft
guy.
intro. Yeah, I'll get you to record it.
Welcome to Fathom and Friends Story Time. Who made that song? Travis Thompson? Didn't sound like it.
That was. It's in the show notes, Henry.
Yeah, Henry, don't fuck that up.
Somebody has asked that every time. Like, oh, who is that? And I fucked it up so many times. It's in the show notes.
It's in the show notes.
Yeah.
All right, story time.
Story time.
Okay. So
I get distracted by objects. I'm sorry.
me too. I get distracted by anything.
Yeah.
There's been no linear conversation.
It's in and out.
It's in and out.
It's fine.
It's a lot. It's
It
a lot
wouldn't
of.
be linear if we hung out
It's true.
and had a conversation anyway.
This is true. This is how it goes most of the time with me.
Yeah. This is probably pretty linear based on the times I have talked to you before. So I'm doing my best.
Okay. So
shit.
story time. Fucking figure your shit out, dude.
Don't look at me.
He dropped a baseball. So this is in the Czech Republic. We are playing a game. We're doing military day, like Czech Military Day. So we have these like military uniforms. There's a bunch of people there, and they bring out. They swear in people to like the whatever, and they do that. They do that in the U.S. sometimes, where they'll like bring them out and they like have them do the oath or whatever.
The appreciation days. Or
yeah. But they have like young kids that are like gonna join the military or whatever. So they do that. They do like their national anthem, whatever. They do like, they shoot the guns, like they like do like a rifle thing. It's pretty cool. And I'm starting pitching that day. So I'm like, oh, this is fun. So I'm getting warmed up. Game starts. Also the crowd like heckling is pretty funny because like they don't speak English really. And they don't really give a fuck about baseball. It's just like something to do while they drink.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where Pilsners are from, like the Czech Republic. It's like where it was invented, basically.
What is a Pilsner?
It's just like a light beer.
Okay.
I don't know. It's good. It's really good there. I don't even like beer, but I was like, this beer is fucking good. But they would just get fucked up. Like, and so one time I'm like on the mound, I walk a guy and some guy just stands up and he's like, throw a strikey, boy. And I was like, all right. There's like getting heckled by some guy who like doesn't really understand what's going on. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I was pitching well. And we get into like the 7th inning. And so for Military Appreciation Day, they had this guy. I don't know what it had to do with the military, but they bring out this guy and they pause the game and he comes out and he has a hawk. Like he's like one of those bird guys. So he has like the glove and a hawk and it's like a beautiful bird. And I'm like sitting in the dugout and we're watching and he walks out onto the field and he like lets it go and he like flies around, does this stuff. And he's like, I don't know, like, I don't really know what maneuvers he like taught this bird, but it's like doing some cool shit. And we're like, oh, this is fun. Don't really understand what it has to do with Military Appreciation Day, but I'm like, cool, I get to see a bird fly around. This is neat. It's a big ass hawk. And then it just like starts going up, like way up, and then just flies away. Because he was like doing these things where he's like trying to get it back.
Yeah.
And it gets to this point where it's like 20 minutes have gone by.
Yeah.
I go back to the bullpen to just like stay loose.
Yeah.
I'm like, because the game is paused. Like he's still like,
He's waiting for it to come back.
and everyone's like, and I remember I'm like warming up and we're sitting in the bullpen and we're like, this can't be part of it. Like there's no way. Like it's gonna come back, right? Like, is he gonna go get something from the next town and then like come back? I'm like, we're just trying to be like, I hope this guy didn't lose his life in front of us. Like, I don't know. He's
His
probably like,
life's
this is
work.
Yeah, he's like, this is my child.
Yeah.
Like, and so this bird, and like, because there's a point where you can see it. You know when you're like watching a plane fly away, and then you're like, oh, it's gone. I can't see it anymore. It's so far away, and it's like a clear day, and it just disappeared, and it's like way up there. It's probably like, this is great, like this is awesome. I'm
This
like,
is what I've wanted my entire life.
I forgot I could do this at any time, and so then it gets like 20, 30 minutes, and I'm like in the bowl. I'm like, all right, what are we gonna do here? And so we're like, is this bird gonna come back? And there's like silence from the crowd. There's kind of just murmurs in the dugout, and then the guy just walks off the field. No bird. Like he just like lost his bird. So I'm like, okay. So they're like, all right, start the game again. So I go back out there, and then we get to the 9th inning, and then the bird comes back and just like lands on the field. And we were like,
was it thunderous applause or?
Yeah, everyone was like, whoa, the bird's back. Oh my God. And then the guy like came, we were like, oh yeah, dude, this is like, and that's not the most interesting story, but I was like, this is the craziest fucking thing. Maybe
Did you
it's ever
lose that
happened.
game?
I don't know. We lost a lot of games, but I do remember it was either that game or another game where my catcher, a foul ball got hits off the plate and went under his cup.
Oh,
And then we got to go to the hospital and watch them drain his balls. Because
oh man.
not a great way to finish that story, but yeah, a guy lost his bird.
I literally thought you were, because I've seen those videos of when a bird flies in the path of a pitch.
the one time it happened.
Oh, it only happened once?
with Randy Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, and the bird exploded. I thought you were going to say.
No, God, that would have
when it came back.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like we think it's gone, and then it comes back, and I kill it.
Yeah, as you destroyed it.
Yeah, no, that yeah, I just was like, all right, I got to go pitch. This guy just lost his life.
That's
like, and then the bird did come back. So
well, it is like that. That would make a great scene in like a sports, like a parody.
yeah,
Of a sports movie, you know, where like they have, because for the Seahawks they have the guy. I don't know if you've been to a game, but like they have a guy with a Seahawk, and the bird like circles.
Oh, that's sick.
The stadium and then lands, or it lands like up at the top.
Oh, fucking cool.
And it is cool, but like
I think
if
that's
that
what this
bird,
guy, I think that's what this one was supposed to do, and then it was like, I'm gonna go just take a little joyride.
yeah,
I'm gonna go
or
over to
somebody shoot it. Like it's just,
Dude.
that would have been the worst.
It was a beautiful bird too. I was like, damn, bro. This I was like, I felt a little. I was like pitching. I was like, I wonder what that guy's thinking about right now.
yeah.
Like, I'll never know.
Fucking sitting there sad.
yeah.
Or,
It was,
or just like you hear a gunshot in the 9th inning, and then the bird just comes.
some guy's like, I found this fucking predator patrolling around town. I'm saving you guys. I'm saving your cats.
Terrible, man.
Yeah. But that was fun. I'm sure I have some other story. I played baseball for so long that like the stories start to get bland. Like I forgot my uniform one time in Australia, and I borrowed I played in ankle socks with shorts that were with pants that were too short. That was fun. Hungover.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Yeah. I looked ridiculous, but
It was strong, man. I appreciate you.
this was fun. I rarely talk about baseball, so this is a good.
Well, we got
outlet.
a girl coming on, I think in 2 weeks, and she
played
plays
baseball?
She plays right now in Morocco.
Plays
basketball.
Baseball? Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's
she
cool as
played
fuck.
for like a Peninsula College, and then she played for the Vegas Empress, which is like a WBA team. So
Oh, cool.
it'll be interesting to see how like what
Dude,
your thing versus
Playing
hers was
international was like it's one of those things where a lot of people don't realize they could do it, and then you realize it's a possibility. And there's guys I know, like I'm not close to them anymore, but it's like they have families there now. Like they're like, I
That's
live
their
in
life.
Europe. Yeah, they'll go from like Australia to Europe. Like you're chasing summers. You're like bouncing from hemisphere to hemisphere while the weather, especially for baseball, because you're like playing in the spring, summer.
Yeah.
And they just like meet a girl, start a family.
WNBA players like they
crazy.
make more internationally than yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts.
It's wild, dude.
And some of those leagues are good. You get to see a different part of the world. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like,
man.
yeah.
Somebody just lectured me when I was in Canada about how poorly cultured I am.
About what?
Just like I'm a dumb American. I'm stupid and an American.
They do that with any American.
Yeah.
Like they're like they think that we're kind of ignorant, but they're ignorant in a different way where it's like they'll just project. They're like, oh, it's generalized, and it's like, okay, yeah, there are a lot of like ignorant people and like dumb people, but it's like, okay, you don't know me. We haven't talked about this yet.
I mean, there's some truth.
Oh,
for me.
Sure. For
like
sure.
I just don't. I don't think it has anything to do with me being an American. I don't care about a lot of stuff.
What
like,
do you care about then, Adam? I'm just flipping it on you.
Not enough.
Pussy.
I know that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whenever somebody starts giving me shit, I'm just like, yeah, you're right. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I guess
When I was
I should.
When I was in Japan, I was visiting Tokyo, and we went to this bar in Golden Guy, and we sat down. These like Nordic. There's like a Nordic couple. They're both super tall, and they found out we were Americans. And their first thing, they were like, "Can we not talk about Trump?" And we hadn't even said anything yet. And we were like, "Sure."
Yeah.
We weren't gonna, but like, yeah, all right. Like they're just like, "Oh, these fucking
just
dumb
assume.
Americans." Yeah.
It has to be fucking hilarious though to the rest of the world. Like, just with no context, that's what our president looked like.
I
And,
mean,
like,
come on, it is hilarious.
It-
I'm hoping he comes back on Twitter. I really would like to see Trump Twitter. I know that's not going to be a fan favorite response there,
Yeah.
but look, I didn't vote for him, but he has the funniest tweets. It's so good.
There's no way he's not. If Elon fucking
Let him back on.
yeah, it's.
I mean, fucking Christ.
the conversations that have happened around Twitter, like just like this takeover and all this stuff. I'm just like, it's social media. Like the level of like significance this thing has for some reason is crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't go on Twitter enough to see a difference. I just see people complaining more about it.
I just see that people don't fucking follow our stuff there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But on
disrespectful.
YouTube, you should like and subscribe and
share the content.
Share that
Hit
content.
that notifications bell so you don't miss our upcoming
Bell.
content.
Ding.
And then if you have questions,
When's this going to come out?
I don't know yet.
Stop dropping the baseball. Give me the baseball.
It
Thank you.
it's that
I'm doing my
do a promo here quick just for this episode. I'm Reece Green.
I'm Reece Green, former international professional baseball player who quit. That's it. It's my promo.
No, lift up the ball. You didn't sell that at all. Look into the camera and do it.
I'll strike your ass out. That's my promo.
On the Fathom. God, you didn't even say the name of the podcast.
Yeah, promoting my talents, not your podcast.
But promote yourself for.
I don't have much to promote.
Okay. Well,
I'm not a self-promoter.
you do have Parlor Tricks Comedy.
Parlor Tricks Comedy.
Yep,
And
that's on all social media. That's you and the boys.
It's me and the fellas.
Richie Armani, Jamal Banyan, Nick Dundas, all of them
Dundas.
funny guys.
Reece Green.
They're putting on shows in Seattle, so if you want to see indie comedy show,
This is way better when you promote me. This is awesome.
I know your shit. All of you guys, I follow your stuff. What's your social media though for people who want to follow you?
At Reece J Green on Instagram, or Reece I don't even know it. Reece Green on Instagram. Reece J Green on Twitter. That's it. That's all.
You got TikTok?
I do, but I put everything that I put there. I post on Instagram.
On other stuff.
Yeah, I don't really. It's Reece J Green on TikTok. If you want to
Follow Reece.
Yeah, follow me.
It's in the
Ask
show
me
notes.
questions.
Ask some questions.
If
into
you want to
this.
talk about the big truck, I would be more than willing to send you videos and photos of the big truck. It's really interesting. And if you want to come to a show, that would be cool too.
I bet you like trains too.
Roller coasters. I'm not really into trains.
Okay.
Roller coasters are like a cooler version of trains.
All right, we're ending this. Thanks again, everybody, for listening.
I'm telling you.
If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to rate and review us. If you watch us on YouTube, do all those things we just mentioned.
Yeah,
and
just,
as always, follow
cover
us
the
on
top of the-
Instagram at FNF Pod. Please shut up, Reece. We're going to leave you all with Jaga.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. My wave pool, my wave pool. Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. Welcome to my my wave pool, my wave pool. Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool.